Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the online session organized by SkillVeda. SkillVeda is your partner in transforming education through innovation, inclusion, and global competencies. We empower your growth with expert-led learning that is flexible and tailored to you. SkillVeda is hosting this webinar on inclusivity in classroom to unpack what inclusive education really means and how it transforms learning spaces for every child. In today's session, we will cover the core principle of inclusive teaching, how it impacts classroom practice, students' participation and assessment, and the new possibilities it creates for diverse learners through empathy-driven, barrier-free, and equitable strategies. Our goal is simple: to help you understand inclusivity beyond policy and see how to apply it in real classrooms for better learning outcomes for all. Let's extend a warm welcome to Dr. Jilu Varghese, our expert trainer, a CBSE resource person, an award-winning educationist and consultant with more than 19 years of experience in education. She is all set to guide you through this learning journey. Welcome, Dr. Jilu.
Thank you, Twinkle ma'am. Thank you for the participants. Good evening, everybody. Just stay on mute when you can, and we will remain unmute when not required. I hope you all have registered, and you would take this session with utmost interest and keenness. You're open to asking me questions as and when required. We'll try and keep it towards the end, so hold your thoughts, and we could get moving. So I can go ahead, Twinkle
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, please. Yes, yes.
Yes. So, good evening once again. And this is a very nice topic, I must say, a very important topic as educators, how we can include ourselves with people who are specially abled or special children, as we call them. So, what is it that we should do before we get into, see, we can go into n number of trainings with the technical elements, the words, the definitions and all that. But I think as a trainer, when you have opted yourself to get trained in this topic called inclusivity, I think that inclusion should happen from our hearts, from our minds, and truly from where we want to begin. It's not that you don't know, and there will be something, very new. Some of you may be already practicing it in your classrooms. Some of you may be already going through it. We can have a discussion based on that. So, welcome once again. I go into the next slide. So basically, when we look at this topic, this is highly recommended, highly inclusive by the United Nations goals itself. So part of our CBSE protocol, it has also been suggested from the NEP perspective also that we use the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So inclusivity, as we call it, and quality education is part of the Sustainable Development Goal number 4. And it says, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And I think as educators, we must know which goal we are working with. So once again, it belongs to the SDG 4 quality education goal, which we must know. So what are the key principles of some of these inclusive education that we are looking at? It talks about equality and non-discrimination, where every child has the quality of right to quality education without discrimination. We should allow participation, whether it is competitions, whether it is academic, non-scholastic, scholastic, whatever be it. As a school, as an educator, we must be able to engage our students who are specially abled into our classroom activities. Accessibility. Now, even if you want to include, even if you want to give equality, And if you do not have the environment within your heart and within your surrounding spaces, it will defeat the purpose. So it's very important that learning environments, materials, teaching methods are all adapted towards, you have to foster new thought lines, you have to foster new materials, around you for this diverse needs. Respect diversity. Just as India is a country that we say that it is unity in diversity, this is also a kind of diversity. So we need to actually celebrate these children, their differences, the differences among the learners, it is there. We have to learn to celebrate them. And we must give individualized support, especially additional assistance is provided when students need it. And what is the additional support that as a CBSE school we should provide is something which we have to ponder over. We have to see, as school principals, as school leaders or senior principals, student counselor, educationists, what are the kind of changes that we have to adapt ourselves to. So the key objectives, because any training has an objective, has an outcome, and the key objective is to promote equal educational opportunity, develop social and academic skills for all learners, reduce the barriers to learning and participation, foster acceptance, understanding, and cooperation among students. Once again, if you want your school, if you want yourself to be an educator with an inclusive education in mind, it should start from your heart and your mind once again. Benefits of inclusive education: enhances social interaction and empathy, improves academic outcome through diverse learning experiences, builds confidence as a sense of belonging, prepares students for living and working in diverse societies. Now, when we look at the core focus of SDG 4, every child must have the right to education. So schools must include learners regardless of their disability, gender, language, religion, socioeconomic background, ethnicity, migration status, and learning differences. So that is where the inclusive learning comes into place. In a normal classroom, whether you have a specially disabled child or a special child, in a normal student classroom itself, we have one or two or three types of learners that we are supposed to engage with. So it's very important that when we have a special student in the class, all the more how you understand the learning differences and how you engage these children into this element. So this is a little brief introduction that I must give because it is part of the NEP also, and you must know that there are different targets that are given. Target 4.1 of the SDG says that ensure all girls and boys complete free, equitable, quality primary and secondary education. Now there are two words that are very, very important when we look at today's NEP. If somebody knows the answer, you can please unmute and answer as well. What is equality and what is equity? I just want one or two people to answer that question for me. What is equality and what is equity? Anybody can just unmute. There's no right and wrong answers. I'm not going to judge you. We all learn together and I'm a learner as well with you. It's just that I'm on the other side of the camera. That's it. So just feel free. Whatever you know, we are learning together as educationists. Somebody, you have to answer, others I'm not going ahead with the slide. Not threatening you now. Hello, somebody, just unmute and say what you know. What is equality and what is equity?
Ma'am, equality means everybody gets the same opportunity, no regardless of their needs or circumstance.
Okay.
And equity means people gets resources and support. They need to achieve a fair outcome.
Okay. So For all the others, the benefit of all the others and yourself, you're not wrong, Ms. Deepika. Good. Thank you for giving me a heads up and helping me continue with my conversation. In the simplest of example, if I have to put it across to you, during Christmas, my mother, we have this joy of sharing week, and we have this tendency of giving gifts to each other during Christmas. So that is one thing which struck me very much. My mother would buy gifts that is same for everybody. All my cousins, everybody gets the same sweatshirt or the sweatpant or the jacket or blouse or sari. Everybody gets the same thing. That is equality. But if I look at equity, my mother would ask what the person wants and maybe she would buy that and give. That is equity. I think that's the easiest example which struck my head, when this NEP and everything came in. And that's something which, I kind of found that example very live. So that's the easiest example I can give you. So give the learner what the learner wants and not what we want. I think this example would help you understand it better. So coming to the target 4.5, eliminate gender disparities and ensure equal access for vulnerable groups, person with disabilities, indigenous people, children in vulnerable situations. Target 4.A, build and upgrade your education facilities. Become disability sensitive, become gender sensitive, become safe, become a safe environment for all these people, all these children to come and study. Have a non-violent, environment. Be inclusive, and effective learning environments is what we need to, look at. Key principles promoted by the United Nations is equity over equality. And that is exactly what NEP is also going on, harping upon again and again. It has migrated from equality to equity. So same support, equality, same support for all, and equity, support based on the learner's need. No child should be left behind. If you have taken the admission in your school for a child with a little special need, it is our moral responsibility to ensure that we provide every environment that the child needs for a better learning. Diversity as strength. Differences are viewed as opportunities for learning and not barriers. Very briefly, I have lived in Germany. I kind of studied there and had an opportunity to teach also over there. And it was a very humbling experience for me where, the way they include in a regular school also blind children. They bring in deaf and dumb children on a regular basis to come to the school and sit with the rest of the classes. And children are taught to empathize right from their kindergarten days. So, some of our children, I'm in Bangalore city right now when I'm doing this training with you all. In our classrooms, I have also witnessed when we have taken admission for a special child and they come into the class and they're like, you see all these expressions in children. He's deaf. Some of them are kind of little snobbish by nature. I think these kind of things can be broken down if we teach our children how to be empathetic right from their foundational years, which is so, so important. And it is just a blessing that we have if we are a little better than rest of them. So if every teacher, every educator tries to harp upon this point that it is a blessing that you have and there is somebody who is a little different from you, we need to empathize and take them forward and create that safe space for them. Now, it's time for everybody to unmute and kindly observe this picture, and please give me 1 or 2 views, please. Kindly observe the picture for less than a minute, maybe 40 seconds. I see Principal AIS. Is it Army School?
No, ma'am, it's not an army school. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
It's a Aditya International School, ma'am. It's in Kotputli.
Ah,
It's
okay.
nearby Jaipur.
Okay. We have one Aditya International School even in Bangalore.
Oh, very nice.
Okay. Nice to have you, ma'am.
Yeah, same here, ma'am. Ma'am, in this picture, I have observed that there is a one folded by three ladies, one on head, one on shoulder, and another is holded by her hand. So it means I can see that one thing can be viewed by different eyes in different scenario, and by means I can say like very different views by different we can give on same thing.
Okay. There are no right and wrong answers. People go on. I think there are 40 people in
I'm
here.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm right or wrong, but
No, no, no problem, ma'am.
I
No
observed
problem.
this.
It is a perspective and I value it.
Yeah,
Thank you for your
yeah.
input, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's a very right input. You're not wrong, ma'am. The
Good,
other
af-
people,
Ma'am,
please
thank
feel
you.
free.
good afternoon, ma'am. I'm
Good
Lisa.
afternoon.
I would like to interpret this picture as the person who is holding the pot on her head is supported by others to keep it on its position. That is helping each other to get, helping each other, supporting each other for a
Okay.
goal.
Okay. Other perspectives, please. All of us are on mute. We will not speak during trainings. I've got only 2 responses. Yes.
Good
Who are
evening,
the other
ma'am.
pretty faces? Yes, Chandrika Murthy ma'am, Ujwala ma'am, you all have turned on your videos. I think you must
Ma'am.
attempt. It's okay.
Hello, ma'am. Good
Yes,
evening.
ma'am. Santosh Rathore.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think it's a distribution of work or sharing of responsibilities.
Okay. Good. Who else?
Ma'am, I think this picture depicts about a person, about a woman performing multiple roles.
Okay. Nice, nice. Go on, go on. There's no one answer to this. Anybody else? Okay, since y'all are all in mute, I thank everybody who attempted, and you're the brave ones, and I'm glad I have some brave ones in the training as well. I'll tell you, the painter who painted this did not even think of it in any of the ways that we are thinking. Okay, it is each woman carries the responsibility differently. Each one has a perspective. You see, I gave you one picture, and in how many ways you have interpreted it. This is same that happens with children. When we have a syllabus, when we have a curriculum, when we have something, and we just put it onto the children saying, "Chalo padho, abhi kar lo aise, वैसे कर लो, homework कर लो, question answer कर लो, essay लिख लो." You know what happens? What happens to the children who get overwhelmed? What happens to children who are not as abled as the regular children? So, same like this picture, each lady can carry the responsibility differently. Somebody is comfortable carrying the pot on their head. Somebody is comfortable carrying the pot on their shoulder. Somebody is comfortable carrying their pot on the hip. And I like the answer what Lenzi ma'am, Lenzi I hope, Lenzi ma'am was telling that, each one is helping. Her perspective was each one is helping that lady to carry the pot on the head in a stable manner. That's a wonderful view. I think we should look up something like that in the classrooms. We must help that one person to carry the pot, in an aligned manner, which is very nice. Thank you for the interpretation, and we'll go ahead. So basically, what are we looking at through all this education, and what do we want to achieve? We have pile of books that we have through education that we call, and we have a whole lot of ideas and pens and papers and everything running through. It is the art of learning that we are trying to impart among our students. Now, even between us, we are only trying to understand the art of learning inclusivity. It's not that you're not practicing, you may be practicing it, but you're hopefully here trying to maybe hone your skills, try to understand little more terms and terminologies and the rules and the regulations that exist. That's about it, and how we can implement in our classrooms. So, Vidyarambh to Vidya Pravesh is a very important aspect in our students' life. Vidyarambh usually starts in the month of October, and for every parent, whether the child is disabled or specially abled or whatever it is, they are looking forward for a Vidya Arambh for them, and so that they get into their formal training years. And you have to see teaching through the eyes of the students. Gone are the days where the teacher can stand on the board and just go on. And we have to look at education from the eyes of the student. So getting in touch with me, that is such an important element where for all of us, I is a very important element. My existence, me is a very important element. So that I factor, I think in the classrooms need to be practiced with more sensitivity, with more empathy, with more of love and trust into the whole, learning process, as I call it. So foundational years, I'm sure you know this, so I'm not running into it. And Vidya Pravesh starts at, grade 1, which is 6 years of age as per the NEP now and CBSE, which strictly follows that. Now, any foundation to strengthen in a school scenario, in a classroom scenario, you cannot do it without the help of the family. It is very important that you strengthen the foundation of your classroom, your school, and it is going in circles. That's why I put it in that oval shaped circle where family is a very important element. During your orientations also, when you take an admission also, please ensure that you are talking to these kind of parents in a very very sensible manner, or in a very realistic manner, with what is the limitation that the school has and how you are ready to take that admission and take the challenge and bring this child forward. Please don't promise them the star and the moon and the Mars. Please be realistic with the teachers that are there. Some of us are special educators, some of us are not. We may be a regular science, English, math teacher. How do we handle a special child inside the classroom? It becomes so important that we align our lesson plans, we align our foundation, and our strengthening of it happens when you keep that family with you. So keep the parent engaged, keep the parent with you. Please understand as a school what all provisions you can give and what you can't give should be very explicitly and honestly and straightforward manner put across to the parents. When you talk about a curriculum, it is about the written, all the documents in the written manner. Taught is the evidences of what you collect, and assessment is testing the students. So when you are teaching, you are basically looking at evidences that you collect on how you have included different practices into your curriculum to achieve the bullseye. All right. So the learning objective or the essential agreements, as you call it in the IG or the IB curriculum, it is very important that you create a stimulating learning environment. It should be joyful, it should be safe, it should be ensure emotional support. It should be play-based. Devang is the special needs to be taken care of. whether it is sign language, whether it is, braille, whether it is special instruments. I will come into it in the later part of my training and focus on mother tongue. See, mother tongue in the primary levels is approved, and you can use mother tongue to help that child overcome the difficulty of any kind of a language barrier that we can have across the country. Okay? Now, the concepts. I just want you to understand some of these concepts that are related to disability, which is impairment, disability, handicap, special need, differently abled, children with special needs, challenged, Devang. I'll give you 1 minute each. I want you to describe this in your possible way. What is impairment? Anybody, if you're ready, you can just go ahead with it. What do you understand by all these terms or disabilities? They're all not same. They are disabilities that are identified for a school year or for a school to accommodate children. So anybody in the group, you are free to go and use the Google also, no problem. Just know these words and I want you to answer.
So, ma'am, basically impairment is when a child is not able to see.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Come again,
Ma'am,
please.
child is not able to see.
Okay.
Impairment.
Okay.
Disability can be mental disability. Handicap means one hand, leg
Okay.
is not there. Special child can be again a hyperactive with ADHD syndrome,
Am I not hearing
dyslexia.
you correctly, or Twinkle ma'am is it clear for you, or Sumita ma'am? I think I'm breaking. Or can you just repeat? What is special child?
Ma'am, special child be someone with ADHD syndrome or
Yeah,
something like that.
autism, hyperactivity.
Autism, dyslexia,
Yes.
hyperactivity.
Yeah.
Yes. Same can go for differently abled.
Differently abled, it can be somebody who can maybe read but not write.
Not right.
It can be a little, yeah, there's a little similarity plus a little differentiation. That's it. It's not a big line.
Big line. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like children with special needs, we often see same way the child
Yeah.
who is able to listen to you and understand, the child who is able to see and understand. Like kinesthetic learners are there,
Yeah.
and then
Some are sensory learners.
sensory learners. Yeah, challenged now, like a mix of everything. The child is not able to understand, not able to, not
Yeah.
clear, like challenged,
Maybe can't speak properly,
speak properly.
pronunciation, hearing impairment,
Yeah,
hearing, all this comes
and
under,
visual impairment,
yeah,
hearing impairment,
yes. What is Divyang?
Divyang,
The
physically
others can
challenged.
also look up. I told you, you are free to look up Google, but I want you to talk. That's it.
Sensory disability, that is.
It's a,
Sensory disability.
okay. Right. Anybody else wants to repeat this? Any other answers that you have got?
Yeah, ma'am, Divyang, I want to tell that Divyang is something which is the name even replaced by the government. Differently abled for differently
Yes.
abled children and all. They should not call for any handicapped or something like that. They should call Divyang.
Divyang, yeah.
And
Like, may
impairment
not be a good
syndrome.
example though on a training platform like this. The abuse victims are called survivors now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely, ma'am. They not feel bad about it.
yeah,
That's why
they're
they put the name Divyang instead of differently abled children
Right.
or handicapped or something special child?
Actually, it is much similar
Actually,
of
ma'am, I'm a principal.
Yes,
So
Neha,
I
ma'am.
yes, I was saying like I'm a principal, so I have to use all these terms in front of the parents because I deal a lot of
Right.
parents with this type of things. That's why.
Right. Somebody else was speaking. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Somebody else had come in, please.
Ma'am, usually these children with disabilities will be gifted with some special talents.
Exactly, exactly. I was just coming to that example. I don't know how many of you are from Kerala or if you have ever watched the reality show. There was a child who came up to the last level. All he can do is sing. He has a voice that was so uh, beautiful. But on the day of the final day of the competition, he just didn't sing. He just didn't feel like, he was out of his mood, and no amount of coaxing, they're just moody. Yes, Lisa ma'am. Any other? It's a very valid point. They have their own talents, they have something special in them that we must take time to identify.
Yeah, so naturally, or we can call them as some special gift from God. So maybe Divyang is indicating that.
Yeah. So, all of you, I just wanted you to get familiar with some of these words, and you have to be very careful in the usage of these words because you just can't carelessly use it. Because I've seen in my pre-primary, the teacher just used the word, he is differently abled. The child looks absolutely normal. You don't have any evidences. And yes, it's very difficult in a school scenario. Me, myself, being a principal, I understand most of the time parents are in denial, especially when you have a hyperactive child, especially when you have a child with some kind of, pronunciation issues, some kind of, language, speech problems, they, and a little bit of mild autistic, they are very much in denial and they don't like to be labeled. Some of the parents, are so crazy that they don't want the children to go through the process of medical understanding, which will actually benefit them later in life. I've had very tough cases wherein, and the parents, this child genuinely can't, but they want them to do NEET and JE. I still remember the child and how much of coaxing I had to do to tell them to get under CBSE. Such children get special hour to write and complete the paper. But the parents were worried that it will come in the mark sheet that they were given extra time. So we are dealing with parents like this who live in denial. So you have to be very careful with what category you want to put these children in and how you want to do it. So this I will not go much. There are 4 terms that you should understand: exclusion, segregation, integration, and inclusion. Okay. These are the 4 pictures to just show you these things. What does each of it mean? And how different are each of it. Exclusion, you're keeping all these people out of your circle. Segregation, you kind of segregate, like your waste segregation. You are segregating somebody with somebody and, you still in your comfort zone. You are integrating and you are including is something which is very important, that in every classroom, you will include somebody who is a little differently abled or little special. Okay. Right. Orientation and mobility training involves sensory awareness, something that as school principals, as school management, as student counselors, we must do these things. We must make all our teachers aware in a sensory awareness which is required, the spatial concepts that you need to understand, the searching skills, independent movements, sighted guide, protective techniques, and cane skills. These are some things which you are supposed to be part of your orientation and mobility. See, it depends school to school. Some schools just don't take any student who are, differently abled. It is management to management, it varies. But although CBSE and NEP and everybody says that you should be inclusive, it's not followed across the country in a uniform manner. So this is just something that I just added. Now, some of the requirements that, we must look at provisions and exemptions for children with special needs is academic provisions like subject selection, okay? Examination provisions are there, general provisions are there, standard operating procedures for availing exemptions, provisions of school inclusion committees are there, provisions of school educators. Do you have anybody is dealing with inclusive children? Do you have any of these provisions that you're making use of? I'm sure you should be. So, yeah, these are some things that you must include and exempt when you have special children in your, classrooms. Now, these are actually the theory bit of it. I couldn't have changed any other lines. Of course, it has been taken from directly from the, the pages of the book that writes and dictates these things. So I just want you to read through this and just understand. And you can go to cbse.nic.in. You will get all this circular. 2018 is there. You can, get the circulars from CBSE and you can see what is happening. It is directly from there, because these are the protocols and I couldn't have included or excluded anything into this. Okay. But from my experience, I can just share, I had a student in one of my previous schools where he is autistic but highly intelligent with physics and maths. I don't know how the child does physics and math, but he's very good. But he couldn't do SST and Hindi. These are the two subjects that were very, very challenging to him. So he was basically very good with physics, maths. He was in the 10th standard at that time. So he's very good with English. He's very good with, your sciences. So basically chemistry, biology, he will rattamarafai a little bit. So he's fine. Math was fine. He had a big problem was with SST and Hindi. So using this provision of the cases, in Bangalore, there is called Spastic Society we have, and I'm sure it's there across the country also. And, I told the parent to go through the Spastic Society where he got an exemption of Hindi language. And this child attempted the 10th standard this year and he's got a 90% marks. He got an exemption in Hindi and instead we added art and music into it. And that's how he scored his, total marks. So that is something you can do, but there's a lot of paperwork. CBSE will support if you do the supporting documentation right from the 9th standard, especially when the child is coming to the 10th and is something that you have to really work on when you do the LOC. So please ensure that all the medical documents are collected with authorized bodies, and these procedures take about 6 months to 8 months to get the right paperwork. Once that is done, CBSE will approve and you can help the child to score much better. So for me, it was a very proud moment. It was not easy for me at all. But, with the support of the parent, first thing is managements and schools must be aware of these things. So I had a difficulty where the management did not want me to register this child because they didn't want to come into spotlight, or I don't know what the thought process was. So it is as our duty as educators to try and, ensure that we, kind of communicate the right communication, and we convince the parents and the management to go through this process and do what we need to do. So permission to give scribe as per the Disability Act of 2016, autistic candidate is permitted to use scribe or adult prompter as well. Now, additional time is being given under the, this is the additional time provision that has been given under CBSE. And Center Superintendent, this last, exam that I had, a 12th standard child with a brain tumor. And LOC time, I had just taken over as the principal. So LOC time, they had not done. This child has done brain tumor. She underwent brain tumor surgery, and she had problem with her eye being closed. One eye was little closed, and she needed a little more time to write through. She's quite intelligent, very ambitious despite her tumor. So even in the month of January, just before the 12th standard exam is when I did all the paperwork and I sent it to CBSE board, and they were really accommodative. And I'm telling you, by February, before the exam started, the board was very supportive in giving me that special exemption, and this child was given 1 hour extra for every paper. So she was a science student with math as a, one of the subjects that are given. So I had to write to the center superintendent where my school was going, for my school was a center, and made the seating arrangement in the ground floor itself, and did tell the center superintendent that she can tend to get a little overwhelmed and she can tend to react. So you have to be a little calm with her and a little patient with her and keep her a little away from others, so that, any kind of a disturbance, this can be kind of taken care and handled. Alternative question paper and enlarged print question paper is also a provision by the CBSE board that is given. Like I said, all these provisions are there in the CBSE website, and you can go through that circular of 2018, and it is upgraded time and again. And the only thing that you need to do is please ensure that you are applying for the right exemption and the right provision at the right time. That is the responsibility of every principal, every student counselor, and every management to bring it to the notice of the board and do what is required. And trust me, CBSE board is one of the most accommodative boards that I've seen in the country. Right. So alternative question paper for class 12 is also something which is given as multiple choice, a separate paper. These are some of the provisions that are there. Again, this is from the circular. So, there's nothing new about it. You can also go through the whole thing, and I'm just trying to guide you that there are provisions available under the CBSE board. Ouch. What happened? Can you see the slide?
Yes,
ma'am.
we
Thanks.
can.
Okay. Right. So practical examination also has, MCQ types, and private candidates can take practical exams like music, home science, painting, like I said. See, IGCSE is another syllabus that offers a large variety of subjects. Now, slowly, even CBSE is trying to, migrate to this and ensure that inclusivity happens, and you're not forcing the child who can't do Hindi, can't do languages, and you're forcing them to do it because the system says that. I request not to use your, don't use your pen, no, annotations, please avoid. Yeah, I think.
We will remove the person who is doing this. Next time he won't say anything. Just remove the person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
avoid
please.
that, please. Right, I'll just. Okay. Right. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. So this is something that we can, I don't know why I got this now. Oh God. Sorry. So SOP for availing these facilities for inclusive practices that you want in your school. This is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And it is your regional office, the regional officer who is your point of contact, and you must ensure that you are doing, and I am personally very convinced because the board I have gone through this process with the board, and they will ask you a million questions. That is to ensure that the right child is getting the right opportunity and the right benefit, and no school or no student or no parent is misusing the facility and the provision given by the CBSE board. They will ask you multiple questions. One mail will go, they will send you another mail. Another mail will go, they will send you. All this, please don't get frustrated, but trust me, the regional officer and the regional officer will definitely help you in the process. Universal Design for Learning is a framework. So what is this UDL? It is called as UDL. Based on research in the learning sciences, this framework gives way for development of flexible learning environment that can accommodate individual learning differences. So it is called the UDL practice that must be there in your classrooms and in your, day-to-day practices. It's not easy to teach a child with, autism, with maybe impairment, linguistic problems. You can't just teach them science, math, and social studies the way you want. You have to look at a universal design. You have to look at a framework that will accommodate the need of that particular child. So one thing that I had done in one of the other schools also is I had given a level paper to a child with, he was autistic but a little violent also by nature. So there is another provision that you can do in your classrooms and in your schools is provide shadow teachers. Please ensure the moment you have a doubt that the child is little different, little hyperactive, not listening, not doing what like the other normal children do. Of course, our years of practice in the education must make you sensitive and must make you empathetic enough to pick the signs early. And please understand, don't go and rattle out everything to the parent, because if the parent is in denial, they will just take a TC and walk out, and you'll spoil your reputation and your school's reputation. So you have multiple conversations. So usually what I do is I ensure if a teacher tells me that there looks like the child is having some kind of a learning disability, some hyper, activity disorder, ADHD or whatever that is, and, some kind of a writing difficulty, language, understanding. So I make the student counselor to go and observe the classes regularly on a weekly basis. And at least I make in a month 4 to 6 observations, and I consistently do it for at least 2 months. Before 8 weeks, before I talk to the parent and slowly put in, these are our observations, this is what has happened, what do you think? Give them time to open up with you. Some of them just wouldn't open up at all. So don't push them. Instead, you slowly try to work with them and get them to win your trust and, make a framework for them and ensure that, in cases where you can give a shadow teacher, please give that provision of a shadow teacher that sits in the class. It's not the mother. Please don't allow the mother in the class as a shadow teacher. It should be somebody totally different and who can take care of the child in the school and outside the thing. Another outside the school environment also, and help in writing, help in learning. And also you can give level paper to these children to help them succeed. Because it is not about breaking their confidence. It is about building their confidence by giving them the question paper, which is a little different to their level so that they succeed. Okay, provide multiple means of representation, perception, language, expression, symbols. These are all the question papers, the kind that you can do. to ensure that you give them different kinds of ways to succeed and express themselves as successful individuals. Okay, provide multiple means of engagement, recruiting the right staff, sustaining effort and persistence, self-regulation, all these things. So I had this child who was a little violent, especially with that shadow teacher, but hats off to that shadow teacher also, who was so committed and dedicated. I still remember the child's name, Satvik. He was somewhere in the 5th standard when I was teaching him science. And you know, there are days where he would just claw into her wrist because he gets very overwhelmed and angry and all that. But you know, with all humbleness, and I take pride in my heart also, that his favorite class used to be my class, and I had given him level paper to help him succeed as well. So I think each of us as educators must look at writing a success story for each of these children who are a little different from the others. So anecdotal report, I already did tell you, it is a ABC model. You make a anecdotal report, you make a behavioral report. You know, in our school, we have both student counselor and student educator, a special educator. So I value the report of both of them who do analysis and observations at different times, and I see what is the disparity in both their reports, and based on that is when I decide to talk to a teacher, talk to a parent, and see how we can look at the way of taking this forward. So there are some children who like the attention seeking factor, self-stimulation, skill deficient. They like to escape all these things. There are tangible factors, you know, that affect the child's behavior. So all these things, I think you need. See, I am not a special educator. Neither are most of us over here. We are good with our subjects. We are good as an administrator. We are good as a teacher. I think we should take the help of a student educator or a student counselor who knows these you know, specific terms and terminologies that they have learned during their duration of the course of 4 years, 5 years. You know, we don't have to be a master of all, but we have to be very empathetic, inclusive, sympathetic, and sensitive. That is something which is very important when we are looking at addressing each of these problems. Now, some of these pictorial things, what is it that a school can do to access, and how we can, you know, make this, you know, more accessible to a child. These are some of the pictures that we are looking at. The classrooms, the toilets should be part of the, you know, you should have a hand bar, and the toilet should be slightly different. I think most schools have migrated into this. Just adding a handlebar, you know, changes the way and the approach that a child with a disability has. Okay. These are the signs that you can have in your schools and in your areas to guide them towards the right, you know, requirement. Public information counters, you can have special counters that are required. Accessible transport, in your transport, how you can kind of look at, you give us slides. I think most of the CBSE schools, for your affiliation time and during the school inspection and everything, they ask for those ramps. So not only we have the stairway, we should have a ramp, we should also have a lift in the school, which is very, very important. So any product, instrument, equipment, or technology adapted or specially designed for improving the functioning of a person with a disability, it is part of your inclusivity. It is part of your inclusion. Now, it is very easy to, you know, kind of say all these things in a training, but this is something that you have to learn to practice within the classrooms. So you can maybe, you know, click a picture of this what are the assistive devices that you can have in the area of need. For example, if it is locomotor skills, writing, mobility, posture, activity, these are some things commonly available assistive devices that you can use for your, making the life of this student easier and making inclusivity in your schools and classrooms and areas that they are accessing. Vision, what all can we do? These are the things that are available in the market, guided by the CBSE, and this is something that you can take to the examination hall also. So I had a child with hearing impairment, and she was allowed to wear that particular device in the ear, and yeah, so these all things should be reported to the regional office during the LOC time. Hearing, communication, what all is available. These are the devices that are available. And these are some of the pictures I wanted to show you of the different assistive, device. Braille, I'm sure all of us know this. Alphabets in the Braille, how it looks, the sign languages, how it appears and how it looks. Communication boards that should be there in your classrooms. And maybe if children can't express, at least they can touch on how they feel looking at some of these pictures, and they can express that I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm sick, I need a break. There are small children, kindergarten to grade 1, 2, 3. I have practiced it where they can come and touch the board and tell us what they feel at that moment, which can make life a little easier for all of us as educators. So these are some of the, signboards, communication boards that you can have in your notice boards, in the classrooms, on the corridors, which is just a suggestion. It is not a mandatory thing. It's just a suggestion. And what you need to do is you need to make your communication board in your schools, in your classrooms, in your corridors, in your reception areas, need-based, disability-based, age-appropriate, culturally appropriate. Again, please understand, as educators, let's not propagate the hate that the politicians are already propagating in this country in the name of religion, language, bias, culture, bias, all these things. As a school, we should teach them diversity, not just India as a country, but with all our children. We should be able to bring that diversity, and we should look at it from a need-based perspective. So this is just basic guidelines that I'm giving. Please discuss with your managements, please discuss with your principals, please discuss with your student educators, counselors, and come up with something which is unique for your school. Make it a mandate that you will have a good communication board right from the reception to your classrooms, to your corridors, so that anybody who walks in with a child who is differently abled will feel that confidence, chalo bhai, this school is at least talking my child's language, is understanding my need, so it's very, very important. So this is, just a bar graph. That is the way forward that I was looking at. More than this, what is important for me is the next upcoming slides. I hope you're not getting restless. I will quickly finish this in another few minutes. See, it's so easy for us to sit in trainings and say, oh, I'm doing. See, for some of us, it can be just certification. We are getting certified. But what are the real challenges of inclusive education? The real challenges is I and you are not trained teachers to be inclusive. I am not a trained principal to add, how that will, how the child ADHD will, how do I deal with ADHD? How do I deal with all this? See, years of experience has taught me that, but I'm not a trained, certified, qualified teacher. So this is something that you must have and must understand, that we have certain limitations. But how do we overcome our limitations is something that we are helping through these trainings. So you must also do your own research to understand how I can include that child who's not learning, how I can make that child a little more, responsive towards me, how I can make that child love my subject, love me as a person, and value my presence in the class. So, you must, understand that CBSE board also allows us to have 40-45 children. Okay, now it is 1:30 maybe. So large sizes is not going to help inclusion. Negative attitudes, misconceptions about disability and diversity is something which I think as principals, as educators, we must constantly train not just ourselves, but train our teachers, train our students. You must conduct, classes just like we are so now, what do you say? We are so, all over with good touch, bad touch, that touch, this touch. What about inclusion? Inclusivity also must be part of your, training program, must be part of your classroom period. Somewhere you must allocate and do this. Okay, and do not tolerate any kind of a negative approach that is shown by another child towards a child who is differently abled. I think you should address it. You must address it politely with both of them. What it means for teachers, what it is to have inclusivity for teachers is use differentiated instruction, create accessible learning experiences, encourage participation, reduce discrimination, provide emotional safety, collaborate with parents and specialists, and that is something you just can't avoid that step. Please do not skip that step. It is a very, very important step. And do not talk to any parent without an anecdotal report, without having enough observations, without having adequate, discussion within the management, with the principal. Don't rattle out without evidences. Now, one of the most important inclusion that is very highly recommended by the United Nations Sustainability Goal number 4 is the traditional approach and the inclusive SDG approach. One teaching method is seen in traditional approach. The SDG approach is multiple learning method. Same assessment for all, but in this case, you must have flexible, assessments. Punishing mistakes. You cannot punish mistakes. You have to support growth. It is not teacher-centered. It should be learner-centered. Competition is focused. In case of the inclusivity, it is collaboration that you have to focus. Now, India's Ministry of Education and CBSE align with SDG 4, and it's basically National Education Policy 2020. It should be competency based. It should have experiential learning. There should be an universal access for all these children to any kind of a learning material, admission, relevant stuff. You must make it accessible. Inclusive classrooms that should be there, your corridors, your toilets, environment that they are in, your ecosystem should be inclusive in nature. Foundational literacy and numeracy is very important for them. Gender inclusion is also very, very important. So with that, I want to conclude, inclusive education is not a special strategy for a few learners. It is a quality of teaching approach for every learner. Okay, I hope I made sense, did some justice to this topic. Do we want to talk? Twinkle ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, I'm here. Any questions, anything you want to suggest or say? We have some principals also over here.
Any best practices, ma'am? It would be good if you can share so that all of us can.
Neha ji, are you there? Neha ji.
Yeah,
Any other
yeah.
suggestions, any other interaction you want, please go ahead. We are open for questions now.
Yeah, anything that I missed in my slide, please be open because we are all learning together.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Can
evening.
you just explain the rewarding system to this children in inclusive education? Because sometimes when we appreciate a child for her little things, other children gets they gets agitated. They feel why for small things ma'am is appreciating that child. But so can you explain about the rewarding system? How to reward these kids without disturbing other children?
Okay, ma'am,
There,
there are two parts to your one single question. The first part is your classroom must be empathetic. That is one part of it. Now, it's a very difficult bit, very easy for me to say, but I have practiced it to a certain level. In grade 8, this last academic year, we had 2 children in grade 8 who were special children. And there is this girl who was little violent. I mean, if she doesn't like something, she will just start screaming. But there was this other boy in the same class, Arjit, his name is. He is very good with his keyboard. He is very silent. Okay. So the other children, we had a classroom strength of 32. The other children also used to get irritated that these 2 children are there in the class. One gets away because he's quiet. The other gets away because she can get little noisy. But I have seen children that they started including them because they became sensitive. They became empathetic to it. Unless your classroom is empathetic, this is actually the other part of your question. When you are praising a child who is disabled, the others are actually feeling is jealousy.
yes, yes, ma'am.
It's actually jealousy. We have to address this. That's what I said. We have to do it on a regular basis. Good touch, bad touch, just as much we promote and propagate that. This has to be also promoted and propagated. Like I said, when I was abroad, it's a very, very important thing on a monthly basis, at least 2-3 times in a week. In a month. We used to bring children who are deaf and dumb and sensitize these children who are absolutely good. They have to walk with them, they have to talk with them, they have to tolerate them. They become the buddy, So, see, some of us, all these children are so blessed. You have to actually sit down, talk to them, and make them understand that jealousy is not going to help. You are better than them. So by giving them a little praise, you are actually bringing them at an equal platform. And that acceptance should come to the children. So that is why I think you must have more, it is not easy, ma'am. Empathy and, constant, I don't think so you should, verbally scold them. You should ask them, beta kya hai? You have to have one-on-one discussion. So the student counselor here not only plays a role for an inclusive child, but plays a role for the normal child who becomes the big bully. So you have to call them, you have to sit with them one-on-one, face-to-face, and make them understand, beta, you already have everything. This child lacks. So we have to bring them together. What if this was your own brother? What if this was your own child? Will the parent discard the child? No, you will still live with them. So, yeah, theoretically, but I have practiced it to some extent, ma'am. It's not an easy thing. But sensitizing them, empathizing them, situational case studies you have to give them, and there were times, where somewhere I have done, where I blindfolded all these children at some point and asked them to learn to understand what it is to be blind. Even 1 hour, we cannot sit blind.
Yes, ma'am.
So think of this child who is blind for life. So do some case studies, do some game-based sensitivity classes. It will help.
Yes, ma'am. Before we educate the children, I think teachers need some, sensitization about to understand these people, children. They are
counseling
thinking.
of teachers are also important. Counseling of teachers and
that is
parents.
very important.
Actually,
Very important.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Any other questions from anyone? Please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Ma'am, actually, I faced a one problem. Not one problem. Many times I faced a problem. Teachers usually don't understand how to handle this type of children, and they usually directly talk to the parents. Your child is not able to study in the school with all these children. They are bullying them, and all these things happens. They are not able to cope up with the regular classes. So better you should take your child to the special school. So in this way, I have to counsel the teachers many a time. No,
yeah,
we are having a norms that inclusive education should be there. So for this, I just want that we should conduct some counseling sessions for the teachers to
yeah.
handle those
Use
type
your
of
student
children.
counselor. Use your student counselor. That's what I do in my school. I take training sessions for teachers regularly. I must know, the number of children in the school who are specially abled.
Yes, yes. See, very often we see that special childs are not coming to such regular school. There are only few students, maybe maximum 4, 5. This type of numbers are there. That is not more in numbers. They are not in more in numbers. That's why so many teachers are not habitual of them.
Yeah.
They just get afraid because parents are complaining. No, parents are saying they are not doing, and in revert, what they usually do, they used to call them only every time they are talking to parents.
It should not
So
happen. I
this
told you,
situation
no,
happens.
ABC model.
Yes, yes,
You have to
yes, yes.
apply
I
ABC model.
agree with
You
you.
cannot
I
talk to
appreciate.
any parent without an anecdotal report and sufficient
Yes, yes, yes,
documented observations. So I
yes, yes,
personally,
yes.
even if my student counselor observes, educator observes, I also personally go as a principal to the class, because when I talk to the parent, I have to talk with conviction, not with somebody else's
Yes,
observation, not from somebody else's viewpoint
yes.
and somebody else's
Without
eyes.
without without proof or any document, we should not
Yeah,
go to the parents.
correct. And
Yes.
आप डॉक्यूमेंट के
Thank you, ma'am.
साथ भी जाओ, there are many parents who are not willing to accept कि
They
उनके
won't
बच्चे में
accept.
Yes,
They
प्रॉब्लम
yes.
है.
literally they won't accept.
Maximum
Yeah,
parents are in denial.
करेक्ट करेक्ट, दे आर इन डिनाइल. पता नहीं क्यों उनको लगता है कि मेरा बच्चा अलग है भाई. यू एम्ब्रेस इट. यू जस्ट इमेजिन मैडम, ब्लड रिलेशन, एक माँ और बाप अपने बच्चे को डिनाइल में है, तो हम जैसे लोग क्या करेंगे?
No,
It's
very
ma'am.
true.
Actually, parents who know everything, they know the thing that they are having autistic children and all.
yes.
Also, they are so sensitive towards their children that they don't want to agree with any situation.
They
See,
won't
for
accept it. They won't
yeah,
accept.
the
They
only
don't
way for
accept
that
it.
is to help them understand. भाई तुम्हारा बच्चा कल, he has to get ready to face the world with your presence or without your presence. None of us can predict our life. So, what are the provisions that are there in an education system that maximum benefit you must give, you must provide to that child? Convincing comes with conviction and with consistent talking to the parent. एक ही साथ पूरा मत थोप देना, थोड़ा धीरे जाओ, and you can take it forward.
Step by step, step by
Yeah,
step, we
yeah.
have to go.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So
Any other? I think, Dr. Jilu, we are done with the questions now.
yeah.
And any suggestions, anything you want to, anybody wants to give, please go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Jilu, for your time and efforts.
Thank
In
you,
spite of
ma'am.
being traveling from one city to another, still you gave
Yeah.
us the time. Thanks a
Thank you
lot
so
for your
much.
time and the very interactive PPT you have created. Thanks a lot. And thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be sending feedback form in the group and the certificates will be there in the group. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you
Jilu.
so
Yeah.
much, all of you, all the participants. Good. कहीं दिख गए तो हाय बाय बोल देना. Never know. Keep the. Have a blessed evening, all of you, and a wonderful week
Same
up
to you.
ahead. Thank you, Twinkle ma'am, for the opportunity. Looking forward
Thank
for
you,
more
Dr. Jilu.
sessions. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you. Bye.
definitely. Thank
Bye,
you. Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.